That's right, infidels. Drag it out to the side of the curb, all that garbage, all that waste paper, and just it'll magically go away, infidels. Maybe you'll take it out back, light the fuse, and have a big bonfire later tonight while you're sipping on the mo with my man Silvio, my Gambino, working on a master plan, MSG cappuccino. It's Hacker Hamin. You know how we do, infidels. It's Light the Fuse, AEW Dynamite review. We're never late. It's always on time. Yalla. Yeah, man, back here live, twitch.tv/conspiracy horseman, Ben Hamin YouTube channel, hackerhamin.podbean.com, you guys, wherever you want to get our free media, check in with us. Hopefully you guys had an awesome holiday with your families. Hopefully you're making that change to get on the bandwagon with us with Stevie Richards Fitness, start working out hard, healthy mind, healthy body as we move into 2021 and not letting them get to us. You're in the right spot to hear things, the real truth, the right way. Hacker Hamin Media Group brand. Y'all back with my brothers, my soldiers in arms, Big Silvio and MSG, Psychedelic Santa. How you doing this morning? Merry Briz.
Merry Briz. I'm fucking awesome, guys. I had a tremendous Christmas with the lovely Van Muscles and my family. It's cool, man. Like when we were at OVW for all those years, I would have to drive 9 hours every Christmas to see my family. My mom lives 15 minutes down the street now. My brother's right down the street. Jenna's family came to us. So it was all gravy, man. I got a few interesting gifts I'm going to show you guys on air today, but no, it was awesome. Had a couple of the boys over last night. One of my students cooked a meal. Just chill, watched a bunch of Christmas movies, had a couple of drinks. Maybe Jenna and I played a little Secret Santa.
Oh boy.
But it was dope, man. I might have even dressed up like an elf. Who knows?
Elf off the top shelf. He's played that game before at a couple parties, I know. Sorry, I wanted to say, man, I don't want to take the tone down here. But even as shitty as 2020 was, I think you're feeling a lot better. I see it in the dude I knew, the guy who got injured, and the guy who's working to make a comeback, whether it's cognitive abilities or just that twinkle in his eye or the babyface swagger or the soft lighting that he put up today to make himself look sexy. I'm glad to see. I can see the progress you've made in the last year. I hope you're feeling it, man, and I hope it just continues down to back to 100% by the end of 2021. I really think you can get to where you want to be again, and won't be missing a step, man. Because I know that was a scary time for me. So for you, I'm sure it had to be as well, dude. So I just wanted to put that over, dude.
Yeah, man. Well, thanks for noticing the sexy ambience that I'm creating today. I did go out of my way to do that. But no, you're right in a lot of ways, dude. And I think a large part of this, and perhaps this could help some of our awesome listeners out there, a lot of this was changing my perspective. We've heard everybody, and I've said it myself, that, fuck 2020. God damn, 2020 sucks. This happened. Corona happened. This fucking election madness, blah, blah, blah. Recently, I've just kind of tried to separate myself from that and look at the good things that I have and that have come out of 2020. And like, I've had some horrible shit happen to me in 2020, but those have all kind of taken a back burner now. And really all I am focusing on is the good things. And oddly enough, as the year closes, it might sound weird coming from, some of the shit that I've experienced, but I leave 2020 feeling blessed, not fucked. I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know where life's going. I have some things I want to do, but I just know at this point, like, you can't control life. You just roll with the punches. What's the saying? The only thing for sure is that things are constantly changing. Mm-hmm. And it's the truth, man. I've changed my perspective and tried to really get out of that mindset. And as you can see, I've done a lot of work to strengthen my body with PT and some, meditation things and all these different doctors I'm seeing. And, I'm still fucked in some ways. My body feels a lot better. As far as like the development and the brain stuff, right now, kind of where I'm at is I can do a singular function. Like right now I can podcast with you guys. but I can't be podcasting you while texting somebody. So my biggest struggle right now is trying to multitask, and I've been working on some of that with my doctors, and then, just different things as situations arise, how I react to them and stuff like that. So, I'm a little fucking squirrely up top, but I wrestled for 20 years, but my body feels good. And
I can see it in your eyes. I can see the difference from a year ago, dude. I can just see it. You're more back inside your own vision. You know what I mean? And it wasn't because you were on nothing or nothing like that. It's because you got your bell rung one too many times. And I'll tell you, I'm super thankful too, because it's allowed you and I to reconnect on a daily basis, and same with Dr. Ted. Friends for 13 years. Something came up in my Facebook memory when him and Twink came back to the Palace for Christmas, New York style, man, like all that kind of stuff.
I remember that.
Yeah, it was super, man. And my family still talks about Big Twink and all that and having a great time. But that's not lost on me at this time of year to be thankful for it, and for me to make progress for myself, because a friend of ours I don't talk to anymore, and I might need coaching from you. And another friend of mine that you don't know, but is in comedy, was one of my best friends I don't talk to anymore either. And I've lost two very close friends tragically at a very young age. So it's important to me to not just be like, write them off. That's not in me. You know what I mean? So if it's something I did and I gotta eat shit to fucking make it right, then I'm more than willing to do it. But I just need to, me, I can go in guns blazing and think I'm doing the right thing, and that ain't the right way to do it sometimes. So I might need your advice as well in order to be a better me going into 2021, and maybe rekindle these relationships, because both of those people are dudes I look up to and have brilliant minds. And it's tragic that they're not here alongside me, doing and sharing in this experience, because they have plenty to offer in both wrestling and comedy realms. So let's hope we can rekindle that and be better humans and do what we need to do, man, to bring more leaders into the tribe here. And a guy who's really put in his work in 2020, I'd say Mr. 2020 of Hamin Media Group, to be honest with you. If I had my vote on the Hammies, it's MSG. In fact, I did vote for him for producer of the year. Well, you've made the sacrifices, and people don't know what that is until they absolutely do it for themselves. There's a lot to it, and it takes a man or a strong woman. I'm not going to just say, it takes an alpha to do that shit, and you have accomplished it.
Well, that's right, guys. We're back. I'm your host on the scene of The Air is Clean. I'm Lighting Up Green, your boy, MSG. Happy post Light the Fuse Christmas review. We got a couple different things on deck for you, and I'm excited. Yeah, I had a pretty good Christmas. I told you guys off air. I made myself a nice little dinner. As well as the night before in the Discord on Christmas Eve, I hosted just one person ended up showing up, but I threw on It's a Wonderful Life, and Jim Stranger ended up showing up, and he had never seen it.
Awesome.
So we sat there and watched the movie, and then hung out in the Discord for about an hour afterwards. So, and by the way, I got to see the real Jim Stranger without the mask. So if you had been there, you would have gotten to see the kayfabe look. So
let's just put it over. He was the first one who just ordered the first Hameo at patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. So I've got to cut a promo. None other. It says for his birthday, but no, I've got to cut a promo on none other than All Elite Scooby Doo. So it's gonna be quite a first Hameo out of the gate here.
That's the first one I want you to do for the new year, Hamin. I want you to make amends with Scooby Doo. I want you to let him go.
We'll see about that. I'm more of a Shaggy man. I probably would have been putting it to Daphne if I give him the opportunity. I chased the redhead. So
you got a few videos of that online, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
You've seen them.
World Star.
No, not that kind of website.
We're good to be back. I was going to binge. People have been asking me, and I've been going crazy for it. I watched the David Chase Sopranos thing, so it's speaking to watch alongs. You inspired this, but I think for Patreon, I'm going to try and see if we can get away with it on YouTube anyway in the background, keeping it unlisted. But to do Sopranos watch along from the beginning, where I break it down with my directing and production analysis and script analysis. And there's a lot of things that are brilliant in there that no one, even to this day that I've seen, talks about. There's one scene in The Sopranos that I think is the most brilliant scene in the history of television, and for what it does through camera work and the players involved. And I'm really anxious to talk about things like that. So thank you to everybody who sign up for patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. The end of the month's coming up. So right in the month's the best time to sign up for it so you don't get double whacked. So I'm not trying to cash in with 4 or 5 days left, but I'm going to produce a new Rip Rogers podcast. I just released Rip Rogers Reads Wet Ass Pussy. So you guys can enjoy that over at Hamin Media Group YouTube, and also cuts a very misogynistic promo to open. So if you're into, unabashed swearing, that's where you want to be on Christmas Day.
That sounds lovely. What a gift. Fuck. That's
what a gift.
Yeah. What did you guys get this year? Anything good over there at the Hamin headquarters?
Wife number one, because I go over to Sideburns, referee Sideburns, to watch Raw, and we're golf pirates. So she gave me a whole putting green setup thing, and like there's some shit ones, and this is not one of those. It's a big setup, so we'll be playing for dollars. It's about to get serious, and when it comes to gambling and putting over at referee Sideburns, with a lot of shit talk and a lot of money involved. So I'm looking forward to a nice winter of putting on the inside. So that was cool. What else did I get? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh, and all the local a lot of coffee. Triple D gave me Tim Alberino's new book, Birthright, and an awesome bottle of whiskey of a very small batch. So 4:00 today, I'm coming back here, twitch.tv/Conspiracy Horseman Hamin, Hamin YouTube, to do another whiskey tasting. Actually, I might do it through the Hamin Media Group YouTube. So make sure you're subscribed over there. We're going to come back and do that here. And I'm looking forward to testing a couple whiskeys with the Mama Mambies, sharing some Christmas cheer. How about yourself?
Oh, yeah. Man, Jenna got me some awesome stuff. I didn't really want anything this year. Everybody was asking, like, my parents and Jenna, like, what do you want? I'm like, I have everything I want, I feel like. So maybe some workout clothes was my response. Yeah. So the first one I want to show you guys, I ended up with this. So there was a big gift from my mom and Jenna, like a collaboration. But prior to that, my father presents me with this, I guess, as a ruse of the big gift. So as you can see the dimensions of this, it's nearly as tall as I am. So this photo right here is my lovely father, Rich. And this was taken about 2015. I'd just come home shortly after winning the OVW Heavyweight Championship. And Popsy, you'll know this, and you know a lot about me being a smaller competitor at a time until I put on some size, and some of the shit I had to go through just to get looked at legitimately from being a comedy, song, and dance. Like, so much bullshit I had to eat, and all I wanted to do was be a fucking wrestler. And I remember walking into that building and seeing like some of the big guys and stuff that had the belt and being like, man, it would be so cool if I could be the TV champion. Like, that was my goal when I stepped in there. I was like, that'd be so cool. I never thought in a million years, and belts don't mean shit, but it just, said kind of a full circle thing to me. Like, I never thought in a million years that when I left the company, I would end up as the heavyweight champion, as a guy that fucking was the second smallest guy there and had to fight to even get on the show. So I brought the belt home. My dad felt compelled to put on a wrestling costume and take that photo. He now presented it to me as a Christmas gift.
Did he sign it or no? Is it not? He's going to charge you $25 to get his autograph. He's a real carny. That's great, man.
This was the big gift done by a local artist here in Tampa Bay.
Very cool.
As you can see the dimensions here.
Yeah.
This is a psychedelic Silvio painting. Those were my old ROH promo shots.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. It's kind of odd in a sense. Like, I loved it and was flattered and, got a little emotional. But I'm just like thinking, like, what do I do with it? It seems a little odd having a giant portrait of myself.
I say put it right in the back there and have the whole thing branded as you. There's no reason why you shouldn't shine as a star, bro. You are a star. I mean, it's not an ego thing being a, megalomaniac or anything like that. It's a gift to start with, and you put it up and hang it with pride, because if you can't wrestle, you can look at that and say that's the image that's in people's mind of me. And I, as soon as I saw that, I knew what promo shot that was from. I could see it in my mind with the headband and the whole gimmick. So, no, dude, those are awesome pieces, dude, that you'll look at and have wonderful memories of for a long time. And absolutely, your 9-year run there, that's what a greater character arc should be from a guy who's an underdog, who they see undergo a full body change, skill set change, character arcs and storylines, because when you really pay it off after 8 or 9 years, it gives them a feeling of, to go from a lower stakes comedy character to the highest stakes player. They love being taken on that ride. AEW's kind of missed that opportunity when they put that TNT title on Cody right out of the gate. And because he could have very much had a very similar, experience of your last 4 years at OVW when you were breaking out as a world star, to go to Italy, to go to UK and Impact and to NXT and ROH. Like, that's awesome stuff, man. Don't be afraid to hang that up and think anybody feels one way or another about it.
Yeah,
you took every bump to earn all that shit, bro. You took every bump to earn all that shit.
I certainly did take every bump. And you know what it's like, I mean, going from being part of an act or a team to being a solo act, it's a difficult transition. But I made the choice somewhere around 2011. I'd pretty much been a tag wrestler most of my career, and definitely all my OVW time at that point, other than short little angles. And definitely it was the best decision I ever made career-wise, because I figured out who I was and how to be me. And those are the things I try to teach my students and my online guys in my character development classes. Like, the real art of this shit is just figuring out how to present you and put some fucking Christmas lights on it and make it look a little bit more interesting than it is in real life. And boom, you're off and running.
It's awesome, man. So, and sign them up at Silvio Seminars for 2021, you guys. Thanks again to Stranger Sally, Jimmy Stranger for joining that Hamio group there on Patreon, guys.
We did some good work together, Stranger and I. He's got a creative mind.
Awesome.
I hope he goes far this year.
He's definitely a big supporter of everything we do at HMG. Glad to have him right there with us. MSG, what's the rundown? I saw numbers were down. What else is in the news?
Yeah, I also just want to give a shout out to my co-host from Suck My Balls podcast, Ian, who's also up for nomination for a Hamin as Affiliate Personality of the Year. I got a couple of different gifts, might be a little bit smaller and whatnot, from family. My mom and dad sent me like a $60 dinner, and a couple T-shirts and whatnot. But Ian actually bought me Nights into Dreams for Sega Saturn, which is one of the original games for Sega Saturn. Now, this game complete, if you find it on eBay, is like anywhere from $100 to $150, and he got it for like $60 from me. He found it. So shout out to Ian and vote for him. So yes, let's get to the rundown here. But before we do, we got to get this out of the way. Silvio, you requested it. You asked for an Xmas song parody. Well, somebody did deliver. Somebody sent one in. We got a submission here. All right. And I'm going to sing it. And if it is from our good friend, the #1 fan of the Light the Fuse podcast, Cousin Marky Mark. So Cousin Marky Mark says, yeah, y'all, to you during this festive season where my savior was supposedly born. I made up a song parody for you guys. I've attached the original song below for reference, but they based it off of Jingle Bells. He says the bin should pop knowing that this song was supposedly the first song played in space in December of 1965 by astronauts Wally Sriracha and Tom Stafford, if that actually happened. And then he also says, P.S. It can be lonely for a Jew on Christmas. So for those who celebrate Hanukkah, I want to say howdy ho. Happy Festivus to us all, Cousin Marky Mark. And I guess here's the song. Light the fuse, light the fuse. It's time for Light the Fuse. Hacker Hamin and MSG and sexy Silvio. Hey, light the fuse, light the fuse. It's time for Light the Fuse.
Yeah.
Dynamite on TNT, suicide dive repeat. TK writes the show, the whole thing's got no flow. Hacker's a major critic, while Silvio stays positive in his roles. MSG produces, he's got all the stats. It's time for another high spot, suicide dive repeat. Hey, light the fuse, light the fuse. It's time for Light the Fuse.
Ooh.
They call up Rip, he says it ain't shit. Suicide dive repeat. There you go. That's there you go, guys.
All right, Mark. Excellent. Good job, MSG.
Good rendition, Maddie. And cousin Marky, thank you for that. That was very creative, very good. Can't say I agree with all the lyrics. The ones about Hamin I do agree with, but good stuff, man.
Very critical.
It was a good job. I'm proud of you. And of course, you can vote for Scoop as your HMG affiliate personality of the year, or you can vote for me as your producer of the year. And just like Hamin said, endorsed.
Did you hear Man Beast HMG night before?
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
You didn't hear it? Oh boys.
It was good, Silvio.
Hold on.
Good.
You can keep talking. I got to bring it up.
You should clip that. Kaz, maybe go ahead if you're watching Light the Fuse. Go ahead and clip the Jingle Bell song, and we can put that on HMG. If that doesn't secure me more votes, I don't know what will. Plaja says so.
Oh man, what's going on here? Here we go.
Well, I've got some numbers. I mean, I do have numbers.
Go ahead. Yeah, they were low. I know both shows came in low this week.
All right, yeah, let's talk about AEW here. So AEW's numbers. So let's talk about first off last week's numbers, and then we'll get into what happened for this week. So last week's numbers, AEW broadcast for the December 16th show had 806,000 viewers compared to NXT, which had 766,000. Very close, neck and neck in the viewership there for the 1.6 million viewers. The most viewed video on the most viewed video on YouTube was Sting, when he just walked out, right? That had 450,000 views. Ivelisse and Diamante versus Serena Deeb and Big Swole actually had the least viewed amount of views, which is just ridiculous. 37,000. The average of all their videos, 181,000. So that was last week. Now we get into this week's numbers. So Impact didn't break the top 150 as they had 133,000 viewers. NXT came in at number 40 with 698,000 views. And AEW came in at number 5 for the night in cable at 775,000 views. So only a drop off of about 25,000 between last week and this week, but definitely since Sting has returned, that has been about 200,000. So about a 15 to 20,000.
220,000, which is 22%.
20% drop off, yeah.
This week they had that odd airtime too, with the being 2-hour delay, right?
And then they got torched by the NBA.
Torched. They got torched. But that basketball game, I gotta tell you, the end of that basketball game, pretty exciting. I gotta tell you, it's pretty good. I'm just saying. But yes, that's your numbers, if you will, for AEW. So now we can kind of get into AEW's news, maybe.
Before you get there, Matt, I want to ask you one thing about the numbers. What that sounds like to me is that pretty much one group of fans is watching the NXT show all of the time or most of the time, and the other group is watching the AEW show. And barring like a huge thing like Sting coming in, seems their audiences are both relatively staying about the same. We saw some dips in NXT for a little bit, but it's not that far of a margin. So it just kind of seems like you got one group that watches this show and then a little bit less that watch the other show. Is that kind of what you take from this?
I can't disagree with that. I mean, based on what we've seen over the last, we're into December now. So 14 months after we've seen the peak, there hasn't really been any growth in both shows as far as numbers are concerned. It's just more flopping back forth between the two brands. It's that same 1.5 to 1.6 million that are tuning in every week, which of course is, referred to on a week-to-week basis, whether it be on the Raw and SmackDown review show or on the Keep It 100 show or on any other, wrestling-related review show that's paying attention.
AEW's grown and their demographic margins have increased a bit, I think, right?
The demo has increased for sure. Like more their younger audience has increased, but the overall viewership has not, as it's kind of just stagnant. Looks like we're about to watch the Christmas special that Ted McNair did for us. Scroll down just a little bit, Hamin.
Hi, everybody. Ted McNair here, and I just wanted to take a minute to wish everybody a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, a joyous Hanukkah, an excellent Kwanzaa, or a fantastic Festivus for the rest of us. Regardless of what you celebrate, just wanted to take a minute to say thank you to all of our loyal listeners. And in the spirit of the season, I wanted to offer this very special rendition of The Night Before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas when all through the Twitch, not a Rizat was screaming, not even one bitch. The B12 was injected by Braun Strowman ass bear in hopes that McMahon would eventually care. The Spot Monkeys wrestled, all snug with their kicks, all called by Alicia on Jeremy's challenge picks. Hamin in his head garb and I in my glasses wish they would all take some improv classes. When out in the ring, there was such a clatter. I stayed in my bed because the moves don't matter. Away from the kayfabe, flying like a flash. Oh great, he gigged. You can see the gash. Oh look, another dive. Wrestler standing down below. Disgusting everybody from K-Bob to Russo. When what to my eyes went off the TV, I'd rather work out with these bands from Stevie. But there's someone else the wrestling made sick as he took out his dentures and gave him a lick. More rampant the curse words, all then they came. He yelled at those marks that were all to blame. Hey doofus, hey dumbass, as God is my witness, all of you are stupid and killing my business. To the top of a building, go jump off and fall. You no good bastards don't know fuck all. I go to the Horsemen for all my conspiracies, and then to the junkyard for my horror mysteries. From Billy Ray Valentine, Bello and Strangler Steve, to MSG, RBV, Big Sal, and GGP, to Athers and McIver and Chris Silvio, to the nerds of the Academy and the dorks at NFO, to Jargo, to Colin, and of course, Big Ray. And let us not forget that it's Von Lila's Day. To Brittany, my boo, to her and Jay Lee, to the guys talking fights over on Cage Theory. War on Morons, Right Opinion, Rat Salad Review, and even Boar Meets World that makes Hamin spew. To El Plaja and Kaz, and to our street team, there's honestly too many to thank, it would seem. So let's all raise a glass and take a big sip as we're reminded of those words that came from Rip. Hey doofus, hey dumbass, as God is my witness, all of you are stupid and killing my business. To the top of the building, go jump off and fall. You no good bastards don't know fuck all. He looks better at 66 than most at 33. He's traveled all the world and he's had much to see. He's taught me so much, and so for him I will do what he'd want and plug his shill. The book on pro wrestling on sale at Amazon, and a Hustler t-shirt at Pro Wrestling Tees. Get it before they're gone. With a Buddy Wayne hat, Zubas, and fanny pack, here's a message from the man who don't hold back. You've all killed the business with your nonsense bell to bell when all you had to do was learn to fucking sell. And at last he exclaimed, hey, reels of cotton, Merry Christmas to all, but you're all fucking rotten. Almost makes you regardless of what you celebrate, from all of us at Hamin Media Group to you, we wish you all a joyous occasion on this holiday season and hope you all have a very happy New Year.
Come on, guy. Man Beast making that final play for producer of the year right here. Come on, man.
That's hard.
No, it was good. That was fantastic. I'm going to side with you on something though. I can't believe he put Boar Meets World in there. I was like, he could have said on Rat Salad Review, and then if you don't like that, you can suck my balls too. Like then you could have plugged that podcast instead. But you put Boar Meets World over. Now we got problems.
He had to get his shit in on me. I wouldn't take it as personal on you. He knew it would get me hot.
That was fucking great.
How good, right? How good.
Super creative. Well done. Maddie, I know it's Christmas season and all, but I know you want to shoot on it a little bit. Him claiming to be producer of the year over you. Like, come on. I mean, be honest. It's just us three talking together. Let it out.
Let it out, dude.
Who? Producer of the year? Who?
Dr. Ted, after that, he might have come in and just swept your whole fucking year in one weekend.
That's fine. I'm getting paid to work with Stevie Ray, so I'm okay at the end of the day.
Speaking, I got to call ODB too.
Stevie Ray as in Fruit Booty?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Matt's gonna be his producer. Ted's handling Rip. Ted might handle ODB. And then there's other ones that are coming. So it'll be an interesting month ahead as we try and shape things up. Appreciate you guys supporting us. And that was just phenomenal. Again, thank you. Dr. Ted. No, all ball busting aside. It's things like that to just leave me speechless of the community build feeds the creative, and a mind like that, where you can see that I didn't tell him to do that. That's his own brilliance, where he just goes into it, dude, and just killed it, man. I mean, you want a guy who can get you on first base with a single. This guy steps up and hits a home run almost every time. So it's great stuff. Thank you again. And numbers were down. Let's get to the show. Let's get out of here, man.
AEW Dynamite results. So I thought they were smart. As the NBA game ended, they started right up with Inner Circle's music hitting, Jericho coming out, or I'm sorry, his song hitting as the crowd was singing along with him. So you tried to bring in that NBA audience, that casual audience who haven't watched wrestling in a while, and they were like, oh, Jericho, smart move. However, unfortunately, in AEW's case, and we'll talk about it right now, a little bit of backlash as NBA Twitter came and they world starred all over Jericho and AEW fans all over Twitter. Chris Silvio, did you happen to see what happened?
No, what happened?
They slammed him pretty hard and called him out based on his weight and his appearance. They basically called him hashtag Fat Jericho was trending on Twitter.
Were these fans? Was it like who?
It was NBA fans that had crossed over, and it was, hey, I just got done watching the NBA games. So I saw some wrestling came on, and I see Chris Jericho. I was like, oh, cool. I haven't watched wrestling in a while, and I just, damn, Chris Jericho looks fat. He's old. Blah 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 blah. So like they world starred him essentially. Like all these NBA fans just clowned on him for the whole night.
Yeah, Fat Jericho was trending and everything. Jericho's fat, dude. I mean, to me, there's a couple ways he could have spun that, and I didn't mind this match to open and what it was. The finish with Hager and whatnot, calling out Wardlow, I thought we could have done a lot more with that. Like that, there's a lot bigger stakes to play there, you know. But the Fat Jericho thing is what everyone was talking about from this show. Now, Jericho, I'm sure he feels like shit fucking when people are talking about you, even though we're workers, at least they're talking about you. And they're posting pictures of him next to Vince Neil, like, and all washed up rock stars. Jericho should lean into it, put on another 10 pounds, be like, hit rock bottom with it, and then turn around and get in insane shape. B12, whatever he wants to do, if not just hire, and that's the whole character arc to his next rise. Fat Jericho is just a new character that's gonna get over because he's the best when he reacts to something and he comes up with a list and a fucking click of a pen, you know, as the reaction. This is nothing more than gold for a mind like his, much like Man Beast, to turn it into something fucking career phenomenal. You know what I mean? So while they were trying to clown and shit, I think Jericho, and he didn't come back strong, because even if they wanted to come back weak, they could have put over the Christmas thing because he played Santa Claus, and he could have just been, hey, I'm dedicated to being Santa Claus. I had to put the weight on for the part, and I'll take it off. But like, I think there's a bigger reaction to this and a bigger mountain to climb now, man. And I hope that he does it, drops 30 pounds, and tells the world to kiss his ass, you know, and cuts a promo on the NBA. Anybody who talks shit to him, bring the list back if you got to. There's plenty of crossover with TNT and the NBA of doing work shoot shit now, where he fires back at him, and those NBA guys are gonna sell for it just like that when he comes back too, bro. And that's who you would want on the outside of your, have AEW on one side, NBA on the other. It looked like a All Elite Scooby-Doo episode from back in the day when the Harlem Globetrotters would show up, dude. There's a lot of creative opportunity right here.
I like the idea of that angle, and just for his own health and legacy, I've wanted to see Jericho kind of turn that corner a little bit and get a little bit healthier, just because I fucking love his work, and I want the guy to last. So I think your angle's perfectly great. That's one of the things, though, man, that I despise about social media. Like, you wouldn't walk up to somebody on the street and say, hey, man, you're fat. Or walk up to a stranger, a woman, and go, are you pregnant? Like, some of the things people say on social media to people of influence, or, in fucking the public eye or whatever, it's just insanity. Like, where do people get the balls to do stuff like this? It's insane. Why do you take the time out of your day to do that kind of stuff? It's mind-boggling.
I'd like to see Jericho come out next week in like the Jack Black Nacho Libre light blue top and bottom, just come out like that and pose or something like that. I don't know. It'd be great.
He could get him in a million ways, but like, this is, to me, and like, he could. Who's the dude who knocked out the NBA player? I get these fucking YouTubes. Is it Jake Paul, Logan Paul, fucking
Jake Paul? I think
Hogan, Jake Paul, whatever.
Jake Paul,
he should fucking align him and put himself with Jake Paul and be like, you want to fucking get Jake Paul too, like the NBA got clowned? It's gonna happen to you twice. Talk shit on them again and sun them back in a Black Twitter kind of way. You know what I mean? Along those lines, and Jericho could really cut a whole nother final chapter for himself that would be legendary out of this, bro.
Well, to talk about the match here really quickly, to break it down, it was the Inner Circles, MJF, Chris Jericho, taking on the team of Top Flight. This match, toward the end here, we saw MJF and Jericho pick up the victory after they hit their heat seeker, as MJF distracted the referee so that Hager could slam Darius into the ring apron and then hit the heat seeker for the pin. So winner of the match, as you mentioned, was Jericho and MJF. And then, as you also talked about, after the match, Hager, still not happy about the conflict within the Inner Circle, decides to call out for, I guess, the next big event against Wardlow.
See, here's I gotta jump in. See, here's a thing where you can tell that Khan or whoever is over scripting this, and they want to play wrestler backstage, where a script comes down and then it's given to an agent to give to Hager instead of just letting him cut the promo naturally. You can feel somebody else's words coming through him, where Hager can just put over, instead of, I'm the guy here doing my job, who are you? Like, stealing the movie line. You know what I mean? Like, okay, some people might know the reference, some people might not. You must be the other guy. Some bullshit mob stuff, but like, he's a Bellator fighter. He's a badass, and just let him talk shit straight to Wardlow that he's ducking him. And he thinks he's bitch made. And if he thinks he's the top guy in the Inner Circle when it comes to throwing hands, come find me next week. Nah, I had the match made behind his back, and everybody just pops off it. Whoa, like, that's not real. Like, that's not the best use of it. And there's 2 other times in this show, and they've done this, and they need to stop doing it. You might get away with it once on a show. But these things that happen after the match to further business is not where you do this type of stuff in the ring. It takes away from the psychological win or whatever was going on with Jericho and MJF in the story, and everything we just watched gets pushed aside, and it billboards. It was all the billboard Wardlow and Hager. No, we can do that in Act 2 later in the show with those guys interacting with each other, saying, "Where's Wardlow? Da, 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 where's your boy?" And they get into it, and they be like, and then he cuts the promo that way. These things need to stop happening right at the end of the match. The pin is the highest point. Edit. We got to edit there and go to commercial or start the next scene.
Yeah, and I noticed that they all but one segment this week was double booked.
Yeah,
meaning that there were 2 pieces of business in each segment. So that was interesting. I wonder if they'll continue doing that because I've noticed it increase. We'll see. I do want to talk about the match a little bit, though. I thought the heels did an amazing job in this one. MJF and Jericho made these 2 fucking young guys look really good. And to their credit, those guys coming in with little experience, being in a big spot, they brought it. They worked hard. I feel like Top Flight is working a little bit better than the Private Party experiment. There's something about them, maybe because they're a little bit smaller. You feel sympathy for them, but the heels went out of their way to put them over. I love the fact that MJF won the match, and I counted he did 2 moves the entire match. Got the heat at the end, got that shit-eating grin on his face. The heels cheated to win. I may not have used Jake Hager to beat Top Flight. I think Jericho or MJF could have just finished them. They could have cheated first, but maybe didn't necessarily need Hager. But I thought the heels did a hell of a job. Jericho worked his fucking ass off. So I guess all those NBA haters tuned out and didn't watch the fucking match because homeboy worked hard. I want to see where Hager and Wardlow goes. It's definitely interesting. Yeah, we've all wanted to see the match.
That wasn't the good. That was like a D setup for it. I want to see that too, but
I want him to stretch it. Like I kind of hope Wardlow doesn't show up next week.
Yeah. I hope he stiffs them or something. Like I don't know. They're just it didn't have the meat that it could have.
They put the heat on MJF where he comes out and cancels the match. Something.
I don't know that this isn't a race thing. Maybe it is, but because of how we were brought up, of why would you have the same of something on the card? Well, you got Private Party, young black guys, super athletic. You've got Top Flight, young black guys, super athletic, and then now you've got the what's the other team? The hip hop kids,
the Acclaimed.
The Acclaimed, and I like the Acclaimed better than the other 2. So you've introduced these new teams, and each one on top of each other kind of all has the same offense. So now it's like, well, who's going to be the cool black guy team? Like now you've got 3 of them instead of keeping the focus on one of them, on one team. So are the other ones going to go away? Or are they just going to have 3 cool black guy teams? So that's not really going to get any of them over to the fullest extent. If we got to try and get them all over, then people go, well, we don't see color. It's like, okay. like now we're getting into some weird semantics and whatnot. But I thought with the character and the emceeing and shit that those other kids kind of stole the shine from these other kids that came in to steal the shine from the other kids, So I don't know how you guys feel about that. It's just something I was And there's no FTR, like none of those guys are working the shows. So
you have any comment on that before I go, Maddie?
No, go ahead.
So the reason why you like the Acclaim so much, Hamin, and why they're standing out is because they have an act. They have the entertainment piece. Private Party, when they come out, has that entertainment value of the Private Party just in that word. But once they get into the ring, like it's kind of hard to show that. Whereas these other guys, they did a good music video. They come out doing the character. They use a boombox. Like it all makes sense. It's, the Top Flight guys are just 2 young kids that are scrappy. They can do some cool shit. They got charisma. So the entertainment values are going to be different. I think they could have fucking as many white, black, Asian, whoever people on the roster, but each act, regardless of your color or whatever, you just have to find a way to be different and stand out the most. So Private Party is going to have to do some digging and say, okay, right, these guys are kicking our ass on the gimmick side, but we can do better flips. So how do we use what we do well and work on the entertainment? Okay. And Top Flight should be doing the same thing. You know, I don't think it's necessarily a competition between these three teams for one spot, as opposed to everybody elevating their shit so they could get in the fucking tag team main event.
Yeah, and what's a creative way to put in Jack Evans and Helico? Guys who can also do crazy shit, you know what I mean? So how do we get a crazy shit match to get a number one contender to get to the Bucks, I guess? I mean, I see it athleticism-wise and get your shit in wise, and the race thing just plays into, we already got that, and that's the classic booking on a card, and I'm glad they're overcoming that, and they're just looking at them as athletes and guys who can do shit, but at the same time, you're talking archetypes. They're all three cool guys. One team has to turn heel pretty quick here.
I've got an answer for the Evans and Angelico one, but I can't say that on air.
Okay. I stooged you off for on the solo Friday locker room about the retribution thing too. So whatever, you can hate on me for that too.
I never even heard of it.
Following that, we got a music video from the Acclaimed, and I thought this music video was fantastic. What did you think, Silvio?
I fucking loved it. It was great.
I thought it was great.
They should have all their biz set up for a month to 2 months ahead and shoot these so they're ready to go right before their match.
30-second snippets. Yeah, they're good.
16 bars and he's out, bro. Like you got each little diss rap set up for the fucking match to fucking go into it. And that is really, it looked awesome. It felt like some fucking underground hip hop shit, and it wasn't corny as fuck. You know what I mean?
We got to give the other guy that doesn't rap a little bit more of an identity. Maybe have him be the producer or a hype man, like, because the other guy's so entertaining. He's throwing the raps out. We don't quite know what the other guy's role is until he gets in the ring and, you know, is a specimen and whips ass. So
he could just be the dude who does that. Yeah,
like a hype man.
Yeah,
I was actually going to ask you about him, Silvio. I think if I recall, his tag team partner, Max Caster's partner, Bowen is his last name. He was in NXT, and I believe he'd actually suffered a concussion back in 2016, like on a television taping. So I didn't know if you were familiar with him at all, if you had passed him.
I may have. I don't recall him.
Okay.
First time I saw him was on Dark a few months ago.
Two concussions passing in the night. Yeah. Both of them were sitting right next to each other. Neither of them remembered.
I didn't even put that together, but now that you say it, sounds like a dick. Hey, you had a concussion? Did you hang out with this guy too? I didn't even think about it like that.
We were probably best friends. Or
no, but I love that dude. That dude, to me, is the best physical specimen out of all. And that guy is just,
he is, dude.
Looks like he reminds me of like Billy Jack Haynes, or not Billy Jack Haynes, Hacksaw Butch Reed back in the day. Like not as swole, but like that type of boxy jacked, man, for sure.
Yeah,
he's got I'd say he's got like a similar look to what's the guy that was in the Nexus group? He married the Hudson chick.
He lives in Otunga.
Dave Otunga.
Yeah, he kind of has that Dave Otunga style, hairstyle, body style look. Like they're both, physically jacked looking guys. That's what he reminds me of. But anyway,
another thing too about their gimmick. I mean, like I saw them on Dark a few months back, and I wasn't that impressed. Like I was like, this is a young tag team. I see they got potential, but I wasn't like clamoring for them. But once they added those layers and we get the rap video and stuff, it completes the fucking package, man. That's, if you're on TV, Jack, that's the kind of shit you need to do.
100%.
I loved it. Well, after that, something that maybe Ben Hamin did not like, we had Tony Schiavone come out with, and he invites Sting out to the ring. And it's Sting! Sting says that it's come full circle in wrestling. Talks about being a key part in building wrestling on TNT. Schiavone asks Sting why he is there. And he says that he can't answer that in a few words. He says that he has to go back in time to answer it, and talks about when he was a young guy watching through the curtain with Dusty Rhodes. He does a Dusty Rhodes impersonation. Talks about Rhodes being the one that initially put him in the colorful tights and Daddy, we're going to put some paint on your face and some tights on, and you're going to be a superstar. And then he went out and got in the ring with Ric Flair for the first time. Sting says when he looks and sees Dusty's son Cody in the ring, he just had to be a part of it. Sting points up to Darby, but before he can say anything, Taz comes out and interrupts him. Taz and Ricky Stark say that no one gives a shit about Sting. Taz says that they're about to rip his damn head off for sticking his nose in their business over and over. But before that could happen, Darby Allin gets the lights to come out, and now he's in the ring with his skateboard. Sting stands with his bat, and two guys are more chilling and scary than the five guys standing on the ramp.
Yeah, this was all bad. It's a throwback to nostalgia pop, just to be for TK to be like, it's Sting, like he said, to do the line. Okay, we've already hoard that out. Then you ask Sting a question, but he can't answer it because it'd have to go back in time to do that. Like, what does that even mean? So why would I ask that question if
we have to go back?
This is a setup interview. We should have a compelling question and a compelling answer. So there's fail number 2. Then he talks about the jungle and being in the jungle and the this or that. Well, what's that mean? Are you bringing in the Steiners? Like, you think there's the same jungle of politics than when Hall and Nash and the Steiners and Sullivan were all there? No. So then he talks about Dusty Rhodes for a cheap pop, which leads to the underlying thing that because he's known Cody, he can buddy himself in and get a check. So now we've covered nothing. And then until we get to a point where it's super phony and we have Darby Allin up there just to put a spotlight on him. So now I feel like I'm watching the Muppet Show, and this is just like waka waka at this point. Out comes Team Taz. Taz cuts a good promo. Taz cuts a real, because Taz was a guy of FU who got effed over during that era by all those guys. So I was like, this is interesting. And he got all the muscle to back it up. Sting's got a baseball bat. Lights up, lights down. Oh my God, Darby's in the ring with a skateboard. Dude, these guys bum rush them and be all over. And I think it was a huge mistake. Schiavone should have fucking had the mic. Schiavone should have stayed in the ring, turned the mic around like a knife and been ready to go and backed up Sting and Darby. That was a mistake getting rid of Schiavone out of there. Even though it would have been a comedy spot, if you're tying those two guys together, he should have stayed. And then Taz pussies out and goes, does the on our time, we'll pick the fight. We'll do that. Dude, are you kidding me that Brian Cage should be able to go down there and level both a 60-year-old and a 120-pounder with a skateboard, take 2 whacks with his arms up and still come back with a back elbow and a punch and kick the shit out of both of them, let alone to have Ricky Starks and Hobbs with them to fuck them up at the same time, and Taz. Instead, they walk out while Cage tries to save a little face and Taz pushes them away. It was really bad. It was really.
He might have tried to save himself there, right? I don't fucking care, right? He tried. It sounded like he was maybe trying to do his own thing, but
dude. So it was the worst use of Schiavone and Sting. It overexposed Sting just to do a lights up, lights down and try and tie Darby Allin in there. And it was laughable that the kid and the old man were going to be able to hold off the ring from the fucking squad of Incredible Hulks that were like the Incredible Hulks are going to go, no, dude, I'm cool. I don't want to fight you right now. I didn't like it.
You didn't see the last Avengers where, all those
he just fucking peaced out.
At the big battle at the end, he decided not to do it.
Yeah, it was not good, dude. This was probably the weakest segment on the show.
So I had a opposite take on that. I enjoyed the interaction with Sting and Tony, and I really liked the Dusty stuff because you could see the truth in it. So the emotion came across. I liked the angle. And when they got to the Darby part, which is what we're all waiting to hear about, I kind of like the fact that they're stretching it out. We still don't know what it is. They've teased it now for a few weeks, and I like shit like that. I hope they continue to make you want it and anticipate, because that seemed to me kind of what the business was, is to get to that point to finally find out, okay, what the fuck does Sting want to do with Darby? But we didn't get that. Now with the heels, the problem, Taz did a great promo, Starks did a great promo. The problem that we need to figure out is is how do we safely get Sting out of Dodge? The reason why they're not doing those physical things, as you know, is because of Sting's age and health. So he's not going to be in there letting big fucking 30-year-old Hobbs whip his ass. So we got to figure out how do we get Sting out of those situations, whether it's bat shots, whether it's light squad again, and they're gone in a puff of smoke. Then when the heels are coming through the curtain, they're Sting and Darby with the bats, something like that. I would have liked to have seen Sting go in his coat, pull out a bat and throw one to Darby, and Darby puts down the skateboard and maybe even fucking throw one to Tony. That might have been a little bit more stakes to it.
When you talk about the lights up thing, when Darby came up and lights up, and then the five guys maybe were approaching the ring, if the lights had gone back up, and as Silvio says, lights go back up and there's smoke, would that have been at least, maybe sat a little bit better with you?
Lights down, you have them charge the third time. You do lights down, lights up,
right.
in the ring. Lights down, lights up when they charge, and now Stinger and him are behind them on the ramp that way, and they go. Pop, pop, pop. But I liked what Sil just said. Stinger with the two bats, feed him, and then the pop is Schiavone squaring off to Conseco somebody, and fucking that's when Taz and them would be like, whatever. You know what I mean?
There's some reports out there that the plan for Sting is to only do cinematic matches. So I guess that's how they will be building.
We've been saying that for day one here on the
That's
show.
fine. This would have been nobody had to touch. It would have been the standoff with the fucking OK Corral when those guys come in with their guns and the other dudes are like, you're going to give them up, right? It's that tension of are they or aren't they? Even if you wanted to have a little interaction, this is Watts booking. You want to embarrass the baby face, so when they go over on the heel, the retribution and the revenge, it feels a lot more like psychologically fulfilling. So there's no embarrassment on the baby faces there. So you got to have them kind of at the 50-50 mark and just go to commercial fans or whatever. Right. So they could have come down and Darby swings at him, grab the skateboard, tug of war, and Darby has to let it go and they stomp his skateboard, something symbolic, and it gets crushed. You know what I mean? But even if it was doctored, but I'm sure they could snap a deck if they need to. But fucking then he could have given him the weapons and it would have been a way better visual. But that was, again, that was a D- in my opinion, bro.
Really?
Yeah, man. They're just Sting is about mystique, not about doing nostalgia dusty stories and having to say Flair's name for cheap pops. Because I watched those matches in his early days and I thought they sucked then. So for me to have to go back and think about it and be like, they were the best. Well, Cody was 6 years old. Of course they were the best. I was 12, 13 watching other stuff. You know what I mean?
You were also a New York guy.
Yeah.
I grew up in the South like Cody, so it feels a little different.
But that whole "you suck" and it fucking there's a piece of twine holding the crowd back and it just looks welfare as shit. And then Sting and fucking Warrior couldn't work a lick when they got there. They were just muscle dummies, and that's why you put dumb baby faces with competent heels. That's why Big Cat was fucking DCW champion, because he couldn't barely walk around his own feet. We'd have Gavin work around him. That's how it always is. So the big mystique of Sting to me was never anything. Sort of flashback for nostalgia. All you're getting, and now you saw it. He appeared, 995,000. The next week, it's Sting, 860,000. This week, in-ring interview with Sting. Oh, Daddy, I do my Dusty impersonation, 775,000. Next week, 715,000, because there isn't going to be shit left to do with them. What are you going to drop them both from the rafters? It's about all you got left.
There's a lot more you could do.
Not live.
We got to see contrasts. We got to see him do
like you've done lights up, lights down.
Yeah, we need action.
The rafters. You got to drop them from the ceiling, and then what else?
We need action. Something physical has to happen. With bats. Now, I think the audience is at the point where most of them want to see something physical. Or a clear answer that there isn't going to be anything physical.
Well, let's move on to the next segment where they had MJF coming in for a heartfelt moment with Pride and Powerful, where they both can empathize with each other over the loss of family members. So that was the thing.
Wow, Armand, is this true?
Yeah, apparently.
Smackdown at 3.38 million last night.
Let's find out. I'll check Show's Buzz. Let me see.
Wow.
I read the
It might be
results.
since it was
Evidently,
Christmas.
a huge moment.
It was
maybe-
Christmas, so it would make sense. I mean, people were home.
And I just want to be clear too. So it's not whatever how I feel about the, Sting in my wrestling childhood and was or wasn't a fan. As a producer and director, we've not gotten max value, and we've already shotgunned his mystique. That's something I don't think you can disagree with, can you?
I can't completely disagree
Wow.
with it, but I think I could see alternate angles. Like I kind of dwell in some shit's gonna go not the way you expect. So how do I make it work now? So that's where more as my brain goes, as opposed to thinking of, well, fuck, I wish they would have done this. I'm like, all right, well, now this happened. So how do we get going where we need to based on what happened?
To me, it's too much about Sting. To me, it should be Cody needs fucking guidance, and a lot's going on, and his world's spinning out of control. And right as a point break, he turns around and is about to storm off, and Sting's right in his face and gives him the sage advice that Arn can't. You know what I mean? He's that fucking muse, that fucking entity that comes to them. He needs to be protected as such. 3 weeks, we've seen him 3 weeks in a row, and they ask him a question and he don't have the answer. Well, what the fuck? Like, like that's the worst thing you could ever do on a scripted show. Ask him a question and not have the answer ready. Okay.
So, last night, SmackDown, the first hour did 4.9 million, 4.09 million, and then viewers. And then the second hour did 2.5.
Dude, they had two matches. They had one match in the first hour, right? Like that first match was a half hour, then more packages, and then the girls match started at like 8:57.
I believe it was a 3-match SmackDown.
But it was as far as the demos are concerned, it tied with the NBA game with Dallas and the Lakers at 1.3 for the highest for the night. So everybody watched it. I mean, like I said, it was at home. Like it must have been something you turn on in the background.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. It's just everybody's at home. Wait till next week when it's a 1-3. They lose 2 million in 1 week. Oh.
I read they gave Biggie the Bret Hart on the shoulders treatment and dropped.
Oh yeah, they did the whole thing at the end. That had to suck to get his big heavy ass up there.
So afterwards, we had the trios match: the Jurassic Express versus the Dark Orders, Colt Cabana, Alan Angels, and I guess number 10 Vance. So Colt Cabana now, currently looking like he's one of the leaders here of this group, as he's got a Dark Order ninja pretty much outfit with his camo and headband now. So he's matched up with them. In this match, though, ultimately, we actually see Jurassic Express pick up the victory as Lucha tosses Angels to Jungle Boy for the assisted powerbomb for the pin. And the winner of this match, as I mentioned there, Jurassic Express. Silvio, what did you think of Trio's match here?
I thought Cabana was brilliant in this.
I agree.
You need that guy, and AEW's been doing more of this recently, where they have a smart older veteran in there that can make some tweaks. And Cabana was on point. If you're not a trained eye, you didn't notice.
Dude, you and I are the same fucking page, right? Man. Go ahead.
Fucking brilliant.
What I was gonna say. Go.
Cabana, without the fans knowing it, unless you're on the inside, was leading the action. He was weaving them in and out of spots, mostly in sensical ways.
Mm-hmm.
And if you notice in this one too, I'm not saying Colt did everything. He may have not. But in this one too, we saw Luchasaurus be a lot bigger. Which is something that I know that you were a fan of.
Yes.
He wasn't bumping around. He was knocking people fucking out. He was throwing his partners onto people. And that finish they did was fucking dope. That was cool as hell.
I loved this match, bro. I was like, because, a Colt can be, controversial in my life a little bit sometimes, I think, in our dealings. But when it comes to the nuts and bolts of it, this was fucking all Colt Cabana's brilliance, dude. And Sil's right. If you're not a trained eye, you don't know. But I was watching Colt call all that shit to Jungle Boy, even when it's time for him to crawl to go and tag so Colt can cut him off again. He led Jungle Boy through that whole thing, and the timing was brilliant. Colt's in the best shape he's ever been in. He looks fucking phenomenal. And I like this match, and especially because fucking Luchasaurus stayed strong as well. Again, at the end, we overbook it with the fucking setup, so Marco Stunt can start flipping out and acting crazy, and they got to hold him back. But like for a shitty 6, what I thought was going to be, this match was really goddamn good, dude. And it was all because of Colt getting guys set up to get taken out on the outside, have Jungle Boy get all the heat on him. So when Jungle Boy goes over at the end with the double snap fucking gimmick, it's the finish. I thought that was going to be a falsie too. And it was the finish. I was like, fuck yeah. Then this match was, I go, this is going to be my favorite match of the night. Then Dustin's match fucking comes up and Dustin fucking killed it. And I marked out huge for that. And I'll talk about that when we get to it. So I really liked this 6-man, but this was all Colt Cabana in ring general and the guys listening to him, and all the timing was pretty much there, dude.
Yep. Like Rip taught us, there's one quarterback in the ring, and Cabana did a fucking Tom Brady-esque job of that shit. One thing I noticed too is after the JR controversy, which had, it had a lot of merit, and I'm a guy that's done many a dives. We didn't see any egregious dives. I think there was something in this match, but Colt set the timing up to where it worked perfect.
It worked. That was the right dive. Maybe not on the spot.
It was a throw or something. He Lucha through Jungle Boy. Like a press.
Yeah, press slam. We got him.
And in Jericho's match, they did a smart one too, where he was going for the walls of Jericho on one of the top flight kids.
Flip.
And the kid flies onto MJF.
Yep.
So kudos to them for
they're setting up the dive to not be a whoa catch me. It's an in transition, something happens and takes guys out, which is one of the 3 reasons I think a dive should be done, and it's good, or a spot where it's high aerial assault to the outside of some type.
Yep, I agree.
Well, following that, Tony Schiavone attempted to interview Jurassic Express. However, FTR and Tully Blanchard appeared on the Titantron with a video package promo, and Tully Blanchard had the following to say. He said that they're the best there is, and that he understands that Jurassic Express wants to make a name for himself, but FTR are the best in tag team division, and they were the best tag team of 2020. FTR challenges Jurassic Express to a match on January 6th, and Tully says that things in AEW used to be business, but now it's personal. He says that they're on a quest to recapture the tag team titles. They tell Marco that if he sticks his nose in the match, Tully might have a flashback to the 80s. This incites Marco, and the Jurassic Express have to hold him back because Marco was about to go crazy.
I was kind of intrigued, I got to admit. I kind of would want to see a 6-man in there. Can Tully do the Bobby Heenan role once Bobby became the manager? Remember Heenan and working Red Rooster and shit like that?
Tully's not going to be show ass. That's the problem. Like Tully can't really show ass like Heenan can. You know what I mean? It's got to be fucking whatever the tag is. Heat on somebody and Marco comes in hot and they shut him down and keep him in the corner and Tully just works him over with meat chop and that's it. And you protect Tully. Or then at the end, you do some hornswoggle spot where he fucking gets over on him to take him out,
Yeah, I kind of want to see it.
Yeah, well, Tully Blanchard is good. He can fucking do whatever he wants. He's fucking awesome.
Well, following this, we had Alex Marvez trying to interview Kenny Omega at his hotel, but Don Callis is there to cut him off. Callis asks how Tony Khan can just let wrestlers run around running his business. Callis says that Omega is a world champion and he doesn't get dictated to by anyone. Omega says that he reminds Phoenix that he's choked him out every time they face each other. Omega mocks Phoenix for having to pull out of the tournament for a little bump on his head. He goes on to say that Phoenix says he beat Phoenix's brother's ass in the tournament and asks what does he think is going to happen to Phoenix now. Says he may put Phoenix out for good, but he sure Impact Wrestling might want him back. Callis says he's a bit injury prone, but they could probably call Conan and get him a job somewhere else. Omega says, yeah, guys like Phoenix trip over their own feet and get hurt. Guys like Omega get championships. So they were hyping up this match between Kenny Omega and Phoenix. It's supposed to take place on January the 6th, I believe. Interesting to note, I was thinking about Impact Wrestling over the last year. We were talking about the awards this week, and right before January, it was like December. It was when they officially like had their last match with Impact Wrestling. I just thought that was interesting. I was like, oh,
I think who was that had their last match with
Phoenix and Lucha, and I'm sorry, Penta. Like it was like just before 2020.
I think that hurt FTR too, because FTR versus Lucha Express is not where you want FTR, especially with Good Brothers coming in. You know what I mean? Like that's where the heat is. You don't want to be building them towards a clown team here. That's why I was like, the biz of this is weird at the end going into it, and Lucha and Penta, who knows, man? Who knows what the deal is?
I like that. I like the promo, man. I got to admit, and I know Hamin hates this, so I like to rib him about it a little bit, but I got to be honest. My favorite thing right now in wrestling is this dynamic with Omega and Don Callis. Kenny is, I've talked about when he showed up on TV in the Poom Poom shorts and the t-shirts and shit, how he's a real good in the ring, but I wasn't a fan of that kind of thing. Now Omega is looking like a fucking star. That's what I tell my students. Look like a rock star, a movie star, a fucking world boxing champion. Project, and he's doing that now, man. He's being a heel, and he's being a good fucking heel, and the dude can work. Where it goes from here, I don't know, but I like the promo, and I love the fucking character direction. Like I'm as excited for this as I was when we were doing the Will They Won't They with Hangman Page.
I agree, Sil. I'm not going to go against it. I like the look and the energy in this promo. This is where we should have started. It took us 4 or 5 weeks to warm up to this, and that's not like, this is just inception. You know what I mean? They really stumble out of the gates with it. But I did like the attitude, the look of this, and this felt like the Kenny Omega that I was talking to in 2CW, who had the idea and foresight of what AEW was going to be. Whether that's an act and he's inspired again or he's not, I'm not sure. He's taking a lot of bumps too. A lot. So we'll see where it goes forward. It's not at the top of my list of what I'm most interested in, but I like this. I got nothing bad to say about it.
He's cool again, man. You remember, like, shortly after the Horsemen formed, we had the college kids that would show up to the TV tapings in the suits holding up the 4 fingers. Like, yes, you want people to live through the baby faces, but some people are going to like the heels. The job of the heel is for everyone to hate them, but a lot of people don't hate the fucking heels, and it's been that way for a long time. I give Omega credit for being a heel and letting it come out, but having that look that people want to be him, or they're jealous of him because they know that they're not him. Like, I want to be that fucking cool. Mm-hmm. And he's got it now. It's not the cleaner thing. It's a different fucking, modern rock star kind of cool. So kudos to him.
Kudos to him. Well, up next we have the Bastard Pac with being accompanied in the ring by Penta El Cielo Miro versus the Butcher, who came out with the Blade and Alley. Eddie Kingston was on commentary. Pac ends up picking up this victory, this match with the Black Arrow. I like when Eddie Kingston exits. He's basically, I'm not quoting him exact words, but basically he was like, "Fuck you, Schiavone. Fuck you, Excalibur. JR, it's great to see you. Always respect, sir." And then he walked out. But I just thought that was hilarious.
Dude, I mean, Kingston killed it on the mic during this.
Yeah.
That was my second favorite thing on the show was Kingston on the mic. There's a lot that I liked on this fucking show, man. That dynamic of being a heel and usually siding with the heels is just classic WWE, but he's a heel and sides with the baby JR and heels on the babies and Schiavone and him, making JR a heel, but JR still a baby. And he played the game. That's a game that is set up without saying it. So when he's responding to the other two, he's going to heel on them, but he's always going to put JR over. And that relates directly back to what JR said about the talent and shitting on them. That's the only reason he's really doing it. And because JR is the man in everybody's eyes, and he knows he's going to get the shine from him if he fucking keeps putting them over. It's a perfect game for him to play out on the mic for his awesome fucking mic skills. And I was so happy to see it happen, man. Very, very good job. And obviously Pac is a fucking stud. Like, you
just reminded me, it was a question I was going to bring up. I realized, I don't know. I mean, I've probably brought it up before, but AEW is, I think, at least to my recollection, maybe since NXT, they're the only major company that doesn't really have a heel commentator on the broadcast. You know what I mean? They don't have a heel color commentator.
But what they've done with Jericho on the mic and with Kingston.
Right. They kind of bring people in, of course. I'm just saying a regular for sure.
Yeah. Why have a guy steal the heat who's a commentator just to relate to heels and get them over when you can put the heat on the performers and shine them that way? I think neither model's wrong. I think AEW's model is better because the other is an old trope. You know what I mean? It's kind of played out, having fucking Cole and Graves and, will you stop? You know, I like, yeah, okay. Like, I like when he was shitting on Schiavone, and Schiavone gets hot, tells him to kiss his ass, and he no-sells it, or he fucking tells what's his nuts to read his notes. I'm off the cuff here, brother. I got no notes. And then he's just waiting for him to say something so he can respond. I
think he said, right, JR?
Yeah, that brings you into the moment as a viewer, because now we're riding on the edge of the razor blade. No matter what, if the scripted guy's got to say something next, that's an improv game too. I think I might have played that with you, Sil, and Kamikaze, where one person has a script and they read, and the other person is just improvising, and you have to feel the other person of like, all right, I say my lines, and I know there's scripted lines coming, and it might not make sense of what I'm saying, but if I'm listening to what their body language is and what they're really telling me in the underscore of a scene, and I respond in the moment, chances are it's going to be pretty right and pretty in the moment. And that danger of one being scripted and one being real is what the audience is really biting on. They're not biting on the conversation, they're biting on the game, and he fucking killed it in that.
I agree with you on that. And the first note I took about Eddie's commentary is that motherfucker's been at home binge watching The Office before it leaves Netflix on December 31st. Right after I put that in my notes, maybe a minute later, he looks at Schiavone and he's like, he said, you're my Toby.
Yeah, you're my Toby. Yep.
I could tell right away. I was like, he's the one Michael Scott.
Dude, he's doing great. He's doing great things to fucking facilitate other talent, not just getting himself over. He gets himself over by just being himself and responding like that and having those skills. What he's talking about is to put the other dude over the fucking size. And here's the other thing. This was Butcher's best match, hands down, dude. This was fucking a dope match. He could have protected his size just a little bit more, but I thought he fucking looked awesome, dude, in this.
First notes on the match. This was Butcher's best outing. And of course, he was in there with Pac.
Yeah. But it wasn't just that. It was his strikes were real. His intensity was fucking more. He looks like he's been like really working hard in the gym. I mean, not that he wasn't not impressive before, but now he looks like he's ready to be on camera in Oz the reboot. You know what I mean? Like if it comes back to HBO. And I liked the old, those are, I think that's like an old Mexican style cowboy pant. They used to wear black pants like that with the red sash down the side. It looks like a little piratey, but I think that's like an old Mexican cowboy thing, if I'm not mistaken.
So yesterday on Christmas, Hot Sauce Willie Alicia and our Hamin Media Group is always working hard. He posted a litany of different Christmas rumors and potential news that came out there. And one of them, that there's a rumor out there, has it that Jon Moxley has met with WWE regarding his contract.
I don't doubt
it. As he has apparently, the rumor has apparently opted out of his contract. Creative pitch has already been made, having him and Seth Rollins come back to WWE and eventually take down the Roman Reigns character. A match between Reigns and Rollins would then take place at Mania with Ambrose, helping Rollins win, and then eventually Reigns would turn back to babyface and the Shield would.
That's terrible. That's terrible. Moxley should go over on Reigns, not fucking Rollins.
Why would you bring John back for him to be a third wheel in the match?
Yeah,
just have Rollins against fucking Roman.
Hot sauce Willie. Got on you.
Thanks, Willie. It's Christmas.
No, but I believe that fully that he's looking to go back too, bro.
Well, after that, we got after the match, as you mentioned, Lance Archer gets in the ring, gets in Pac's face, and he kind of jaw jacks back and forth between the guys, and it kind of looks like it's going to break down, but it doesn't break down. But it kind of at least looks like they're going to be hinting towards something between Archer and Pac. Yeah, Archer is one of those characters right now. He seems like he's kind of caught in between. He's because he's siding with Pac and and Phoenix and Penta are kind of supposed to be playing the babies, but Archer's not really a baby because he's got the baddest guy who's supposed to be his voice, Jake the Snake, fighting against the Eddie Kingston's crew's heels. So he's, I don't know, he's kind of.
Why wouldn't Archer come in and fuck everybody up, dude? That was a problem. We got guys who are murderous looking motherfuckers getting pussied out by staying on the ramp. Something needs to happen there. It's the same as the Taz thing, in my opinion, dude. And double booked business. It really shouldn't even have happened there. Like, this is where a guy's celebrating his fucking win, and out of nowhere, he gets fucking glommed. Nah, I see you coming from 100 yards away, and then we're going to stop 20 yards away, and then nothing's going to happen just to set up for next week. Let's show, don't tell, and let's do action sequence to set something up along those lines, you know?
I don't think Archer should have friends. Like, you got to treat Archer as a babyface a little takerish, where he's just this big man that comes in and whoops ass and leaves. Like, he didn't even have to be the champion. All he's got to do is beat people and beat people up. Like, I don't want to see him necessarily like having a cooler head in a situation, because he shouldn't have a cool head. He should just be an ass kicker. Where you could throw the baby face in is like, say somebody like Marco Stunt got his ass whooped by a heel, and they did something they shouldn't have. They went too far, beat him after the bell. And when that heel comes through the curtain, Archer just fucks him up. Marco limps up there later, and he's like, "Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm glad I have a friend like you." And he's like, "I ain't friends, kid. I just hate bullies. Get your ass to the hospital." Something like that. That should be the epitome of his babyfaceness, where he's a cowboy at the end of the day, where he does the right thing when he has to, but the rest of the time he whoops ass. You don't need no friends, except Jake.
I don't even think he needs to have no friends, man. He just needs to be a psycho who wants to fuck people up. So if it's Pac and he's got beef where Pac's acting like he's the baddest and the craziest, you ain't seen shit about bad and crazy till you fuck with Murder Hawk, son.
Mm-hmm.
So Pac gets the win. Even he's celebrating to do his pose down, and Murder Hawk kills him from behind. All we had to do was get Pac out of the ring and move him up 20 feet and turn around and do a beauty shot and fucking glom him out of nowhere and beat the fucking. Why is Lance fucking Archer beating the shit out of him? And then he fucking screams, "I'm the whatever," you know what I mean? And then he storms off. Some Killer Croc shit.
He screams, "I'm a Murder Hawk," and then does like a scream.
He does a fucking big bird dance around him. That'd be fucking great.
Right.
Well, Lance Archer, he was on recently, a guest on the episode of the Triple D and John Enright's podcast, the Academy Star Trek podcast.
Maybe he's got friends. John Enright and Triple D will show up and fuck up Pac, and then they can be bump dummies for him, and then he can come in and do what he needs to do.
Well, there's a brand new episode of the Academy podcast up right now on HamiMediaGroup.podbean.com, as well as a brand new episode of the New Force Order podcast number 92, with former WCW legend Crowbar, as he joins the New Force Order cast and crew this week to break down all of the new Star Wars information and stuff that's going on in Mandalorian. I won't spoil it here. I did that on Impact, and Ray seemed like he was going to cry. So, but go ahead and check out the Mandalorian season 2 and all of the reviews as well, with the Flex Division champion coming for Bin Hami's Planet X Division champion Rohit Raju. So you can check
no bread, no water, just meat. That's all he wants. That's all he needs.
That's it.
All he needs. Well, the natural Dustin Rhodes with Lee Johnson was up next to take on Evil Uno, Stu Grayson. Quick match as Dustin Rhodes was able to pick up the victory here. After the match, Uno tried to offer his help a handshake, and he refused. Stu Grayson jumped Rhodes, and then Lee Johnson came out, and he jumped them. And QT Marshall, Dustin Rhodes, and Lee Johnson were left in the ring as the remainder of the Dark Order scurried away. That was that. What did you think of that, Mr. Pierce?
I loved it, man, because it was almost identical hand heat that I worked with Chris LaPlante in Canada at Crossfire. So I go, if Dustin's calling the same hand heat that I fucking worked, I feel like I'm not a total retard anymore. So, and I gotta say, Evil Uno, I mean, I worked with in 2CW with Super Smash Brothers. A lot of respect for both those guys, Stu Grayson and whatever his player Dose. But player Uno working a little bit more as a guy who can put on weight easily. He's definitely getting in better shape. His gimp outfit was fitting him sexier, I guess, if you want to call it that. But he, even as a big man, is always been super athletic, and he's a very good base man for a tag team that does a lot of high flying and tag team tandem offense. So for him to work solo is a little bit different, but you're working versus Dustin, so it's going to be fucking great. And because this match was shorter, 6:30, I think, 6 to 8 minutes, well, with entrances, it was one of the best parts on the show to get in and get out. And fucking I don't know if I liked the double backbreakers shit at the end. Again, it's overbooking. Just give me a finish if you're going to overbook the rest of the shit. I don't need all the rest of it. So I loved this match, dude. I was happy for both these guys.
Yeah, I thought it was really good too. It was hard hitting, and I thought we all know Dustin's great. I thought Uno stepped up huge for a sing. I don't remember him in any other singles matches. And he brought it with the presence of a main eventer, and they worked really well together. Like, I want to see another match with these guys. I want to see what they do. I don't know where this angle's going. Matt, I did finally watch Being the Elite. I caught up on what's happening now and saw the Dark Order Christmas and watched a couple other ones. So we'll see where the dynamic goes. But I like the match. I agree with you. I mean, it was good stuff.
Mm-hmm. I do, and that's why, because people were like saying to me, "Dude, you're gonna fucking hate AEW this week and shit." And the only things that I didn't really hate anything, even the Sting segment. The only reason I don't like it is because I know there could be a shit ton more that we could have protected and done. I hate it when we fucking blow by business. That's really what I hate. So. The opener, I like that. So really only one segment so far I really haven't given a shit about, to be honest with you.
Well, following that, we got the best promo of the night that really should have been the talk of the AEW instead of hashtag Fat Jero. It should have been hashtag Spears Speaks or hashtag Shoot Spears, Shawn Shoot Spears. I don't know, something like that. Tony Schiavone interviewed Shawn Spears backstage and says that he bet on himself when he left New York. He says that he changed the 3 letters, but not the glass ceiling. He says that he's better than 90% of the entire roster, but management keeps putting him into the same spot. He says that he sees himself going right back down the same path as he was before. Schiavone cuts him off and asks him if he's ever wondered if he's the real problem. And Spears says that he hasn't thought about that for a goddamn second. And Tony's a piece of shit for saying that. He says, tell Tony and tell Khan and everyone else that he'll come back to AEW if he feels like it, as he threw off the stupid black glove gimmick. Hasn't really done anything with Tully Blanchard in weeks. As Tully Blanchard went off to FTR, Shawn Spears pissed, I'm out. Psychedelic Santa, we'll start with you. I know Ben Hami's going to have some good things to say.
Fuck yeah. Great promo. All stuff from the heart. And then he took it a step further. I'm sure you guys keep up with the news way more than I do. I'm sure you saw the shit about him deactivating his Twitter. AEW removed him from the roster page. So they're finally, it appears they're doing something with Spears and going all in on it. No pun intended. I've got a theory that I'll present, but I mean, I know you love this shit, so take it away.
Ben Hamin, there was a fuse that was lit under Shawn Spears that night.
Well, I mean, you're talking about legit a decade, 10, not just 10, is the only thing. Perfect 10. It's been 10 years of him being cocked over and him coming up with things, getting it over himself, and that gets shelved. The Perfect 10 gimmick was all his idea, and because it was, they weren't going to fucking push it to where it was. And there was even stories back in the day of confusion. So that's what he's referencing. And this is the real shit. This is where wrestling crosses that barrier, but only a few who know his whole career are going to know this, you know? And we've seen these reboots with him, the glove, the Shawn Spears TV. What was the first fucking thing that they had him doing? I mean, there's been 5.
Chairman when he came in off
the find a tag team partner challenge for Spears. Like, you put him with Tully, like,
he never got the tag partner, did he?
No, we never paid that.
No, the black glove.
Yeah, just brutal from a guy who's probably one of the top 5 talents on your roster. Kenny Omega. You think, in my opinion, you think Omega's good. I think Spears is twice as good as Omega because I've seen it. And everyone who goes to in wrestling or even top performers are like, well, what's my gimmick going to be? They want to know what I'm going to do. You don't need to do shit. You've been fucked over enough. Your gimmick is you as a bitter, fucked over pro who's never gotten the limelight and spotlight that you deserve. And that's the exact message he delivered while they're trying to play wrestling on him. And he calls out Khan and the vice presidents of politicking, where, you know, I wanted to talk to Sil about this off air because I want to talk to Spears, and I'll stooge you here. I don't care, because I want to help make sure this is done right if I have an opportunity to. And just to be like, dude, I'm here as a sounding board, black market creative. I don't need $1. I want to see you get yours. And if it's me, you take this back to OVW. You take this back, not to do it there. Maybe Spears needs to go cut some promos there, because this needs to be about Spears and Cody. This needs to be the never-ending war that started in 2006, 2007 when they were 19 and 21 years old. Cody in the nepotism, Spears being marginalized, Spears having all the fucking goods and even more athleticism and skill than Cody does, and not getting the fucking spot over and over, and getting his job because Cody went to bat for him, and having the Bucks and those guys, that's a shoot. Like, people don't know. Like, when they hired Spears, people were like, we don't need this fucking guy. And Cody had to go to bat for Spears to get him a fucking gig as a buddy, when the reality is Spears can fucking carry anybody on this planet to a fucking top 10 match, bro. So it needs to be that bitterness and the truth. And then it goes back to, they're not going to be able to get the footage because WWE owns it, of Spears and Cody, but you bring in Al Snow to talk about it in a very shoot way. In fact, I would tie Al in a loosely, not to back Spears, but just to be like, dude, I saw these guys when they were doing it then, and you don't want to peel the fucking lid off of this can of worms, because it's going to go to a level that is not going to be good for your company. And like warn Khan about it, and that's going to make people want it more, and you fucking go right into the inferno of it. And it's a 1 to 5 year program between Spears and fucking Cody. That's where the money is.
You should have, you were talking about Al Snow, have Al Snow, pair him off with Cody, and then you have Spears training in the gym with Rip. You just have Rip with Spears, right? And
Spears would train with Rip, but he's not really a Rip guy. He's really an Al guy. He's really an Al. He came from Niagara Falls. I can't remember. I think he got signed. I don't think he was there on his own dime in the beginning. So he came down. So right away he was in Rip's class. He probably trained a little bit with Al or a little bit with Rip, but he was in Al's class mainly. So and Al produced all that TV. So nobody's going to know the id of what it is better and how to forward it, in my opinion. And they both trust him because it was fucking phenomenal. And that's just a good cameo to fucking do good business at OVW, to do good business in like the reality of the wrestling part. But right now, when Spears comes back, it's got to be an attack on Cody at a high point. And like, I would do it when the fucking he's about to leave to go fucking be a dad, you know what I mean? And all that kind of shit. Time it where he can have a month off, but Spears has got to do something to him that almost takes his life. You know what I mean? It's got to be at that level. And then we find out the id why, and it goes back 12, 13 years, bro. Anything short of that.
He's walking down the street with Brandy. He pushes her out of the way, and Spears hits him with the car or something like that.
Along those lines, bro. It really needs to be that. It really needs to be a fucking hit on his fucking life, bro. And not in a wrestling kind of goofy ass way, dude.
If you were going to go that route, I would do it like they had when Owen challenged Brett for that first match. So after Spears does whatever this deed to Cody is, when Cody finally comes back, I would have Cody say, no, I'm not opening that door again. And I'm not taking the match.
Then he
Arn tells him, no, we're not fucking going through this again. You have a kid now. What the fuck? No, this isn't happening. Keep building it.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. He tries to come back, and Cody's the one who got him in before. And now Cody's got to be the one to shut the door on him. Now I got to turn my back on you. And that's when the fucking hit comes for being whatever. And we do everything unsanctioned and all that kind of shit, bro.
As much as I love that angle, I see something even bigger that may happen. I could see Spears being the bridge between NXT and AEW. With what they're doing in the roster page, I could see him being, if they work it out, I could see him being the guy that steps into NXT going 10-10-10. He's still an AEW employee, but nobody knows the score. Like, I could see him bridging that fucking gap.
I would love that. That'd be fucking phenomenal too, bro.
Well, also shout out to Shawn Spears.
Or he goes completely crazy and tries to kill Triple H too. He kills he's like, I'm gonna really fix wrestling. I'm gonna kill Triple H and Cody.
Yeah. Just put him on that show, fucking it'd be cool. Going back, that's what both shows need. That's what made it hot in the fucking 90s.
Break the kayfabe online of him and his wife, and she's torn in between some shit, and it's gonna come down on her. There's a lot of real that we can do here if we really commit to it. And taking down your Twitter and taking the stuff off AEW page, A+. Like, that's the type of commitment we need. So where are we going from here to make it a fucking really real?
That sounds like Spears' mind too. I have a feeling he said that.
Dedication and character. What's tweets to him if now you're playing with his real life? Because after this, there ain't no reinvention. There is no Spears TV version 2.0. We are now.
Right. That was the fifth gimmick, the Spears TV thing. He did that 1 week. That was the 5 gimmicks. There you go.
Yeah, and then unless Tony Atlas brings him back and calls him Mr. Pierce, and he comes out as Mr. Pierce with Tony Atlas as his manager, that's the only other thing I'll
I was actually going to say during the Friday locker room, somebody put over the fact that they're in Shawn Spears and Tyler Breeze's Twitch community, and I guess one of them got back surgery, and they both called them. So that sounded like cool. People sound like cool guys that would do that. Anyway, also you can check out patreon.com/Hamin Media Group. Get the FR Rip Rogers podcast. And if you want to preview what kind of antics you can have in store for you, can go to our YouTube right now and watch Rip Rogers reading WAP. Yeah, wet ass pussy. If you want to see how that goes down, go to YouTube, type in Hamin Media Group. Very first video that should pop up right now is Rip Rogers reading that WAP. Check that out. And of course, sign up for the $5 tier on patreon.com/Hamin.
Silvio, when your family was over the other night, did you fire that up and play it for them all? Sit around the old
some hoes in this house. It's some hoes.
I should have. No. We did
well
Bro Christmas album though.
Some women matches next, as we had first Dasha interviewing Hikaru Shida, but Abaddon immediately attacked Shida, resulting in security getting between them. Then we had the match between Hikaru Shida and Alex Gracia. Not Garcia, but Gracia. And I think that she won right with the Falcons Arrow, and there was a quick match. But then afterwards, she grabbed the kendo stick and was kind of messing with Abaddon. And Abaddon grabbed it and threw it into the barricade. And then Abaddon beat bites Sheeta's neck.
What the fuck's going on?
It was hard to keep track of what was going on. She bit her neck. She started bleeding. She's a vampire. So.
Did your light just turn on automatically?
Yeah, oh my God, somebody bit my neck. Fuck.
No.
Yeah, just like that.
Stick. Hit him with a kick. And then go tweet about it.
I don't know how to sell a neck bite. I've never had it.
I thought you liked it last night.
Oh.
Yeah, daddy.
Stay down there.
Merry Christmas, love.
Show your Warrior shirt.
I know. She loves her Warrior sweater. She's
Check
pumped.
out that shit. Oh wait.
Oh, yeah. Dun, 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 dun.
There you go, Hamin. How about that for a little improv?
I love it. I love it. I love being in the moment. She can do whatever she wants anytime she wants to run in. Did you get anything else good for Christmas, my love?
Okay, here.
What'd you get good for Christmas?
Time with Chris
Oh,
and family. So yeah, I know, corny, but it was the first Christmas in 20 years where I didn't spend half of it in traffic. So I was happy to just be home and keep it small and simple. So I will take it. It was actually nice. What about you? Did you guys have a nice Christmas?
yeah. Ate too many cookies, so I had to work out twice as hard today. So I love cookies.
Oh yeah, I made some sugar cookies. Ugly Christmas sweater sugar cookies.
Oh my God, throw them away. I just want to make them and throw them away so I don't have to eat them. But no, we had a good time. Had a big prime rib dinner and got some new golf stuff. So I'm excited for the spring already. Got a bunch of passes to go to my favorite places to play. So should be good. Yeah.
You came in right as Matt was talking about the Abaddon biting Sheeta.
Perfect timing. How you like that?
Yeah, perfect time. What do you think of the Sheeta Garcia match or Gracia match?
They kept it simple. Short and sweet. I know it was a setup for Abaddon coming in, so a push for their title match. So, no, Garcia is cool. She does a lot of cool lucha shit and has a cool look. So, they kept it pretty simple and basic. So, nothing to call out there. I was more excited about the Abaddon coming in.
Like the bite? Did you like the bite spot?
Yeah, she's a zombie. It's what she does. I wrestled Abaddon before she was at AEW, and she bit my ass, and it hurt. And she's a zombie, so why not bite people?
Right, you guys teamed before too, right?
Yes, we did. I got to walk her out on a leash at a Denver show, and I was with the Thunderdome, and yeah, we got to walk a zombie out on a leash, so it was pretty.
Now
cool.
Jenna has zombie farts after she got bit in the ass. Her ass turned into the only part of her.
She didn't bite my metal side, so she didn't hurt her teeth that much.
Okay.
If she bit the other side, she would have been game over, but not the metal side.
I do got a heat on her though, because I like this. I like that Sheeta's match was quick. It was a get over. And we've talked about double booked business throughout this show. This should have been the first double booked business spot leading into that with Sheeta. It really took away from this after the match happening because we've had 3 after the match happenings and up until this point. I liked the spot. It looked real. The reaction was, and they could even have more medical attention on her. But dude, then this kills me, man, because she's young and it's whatever. Jade Cargill and Brandy are going back and forth on Twitter at it, and she posts the Stephen Colbert eating popcorn meme. Abaddon is posting the Stephen Colbert popcorn meme. I almost DM'd her and been like, sweetheart, I met you in Rocky Mountain Pro. I think what you got is fucking gold. And this type of shit shows that you're not protecting your business and you really need to not be. I get that there's a whole movement of the young generation of I want to be this on TV, but I'm this in real life and I'm with it. Well, if they're doing a work shoot, the only thing she should be putting out there is like gifs of like other fucking horror monsters puking shit out of their mouth and blood raining down on the girls and shit and bloodbaths. Like it shouldn't be this break from character to I'm into what's going on. This shit kills me. Oh,
found it.
Oh my God.
Thank you for that quick action. I don't even know how you found that quick.
That's my producer.
That match anyone.
He's in the running for producer of the year. That's
well, I'll tell you what, if you've got a zombie ass, then I've got a half leprechaun ass because I was also bit in the ass by a leprechaun.
Oh yeah.
So
And
together.
a mobile Hummer.
Yeah.
It's funny. I wrote down in my notes as I was watching this. As soon as the post-match shit happened, I wrote down Abaddon needs to start biting people. And 15 seconds later, she bit Sheeta. And I just went, that a girl, Abby. She's fucking getting it.
Yeah. But then she doesn't get it because 12 hours later, she's tweeting Stephen Colbert memes, bro. And that's where we need to look at how far we are apart. This girl has a mythic gimmick that needs to be protected. Shawn Spears, they're taking him, he's shutting his Twitter down, taking him off of the website to sell the angle. And over here, we have free range of not protecting our mythic gimmicks. That's just being a child in this business, making a wrong move and not really supporting when you have the opportunity. And somebody needs to be a social media czar over there to make sure these girls stay on the right page, because she has something, but stuff like that instantly kills it, man. And I know, Sil, you tried to rib me. You said, Hamin, I watched Being the Elite, and you probably would have thrown yourself off the fucking bridge at some of the stuff. And it's things like that where you can't have it both ways, especially when you're working a zombie gimmick. This is your time to protect it. A tweet is undoing that, is a bad move.
It's just following the trend, though. Like, you know what I mean? People.
It's right. If all your friends jumped off a bridge, so
right.
with you.
Right. That's if no one's doing it, people don't see it as a big deal.
I would do it because there'd be like 30 guys there to catch you, Ben. So yeah, I'll jump on.
Yeah, they'll all be down there.
Well, I guess I post everything as well. I'm not a zombie. I'm a robot, but it's half a real life story. So
yeah, but I gotta say, I gotta believe this, and I would chew your ass the same way. If you were genocide, half fucking Terminator, half super space, outer space ass whipper, and you're on TV full time, Jenna, and you start your Muay Thai stuff where you look like you're training to being a wrestler, that I don't have a problem with. But if you were doing like teen mom reaction videos while you're supposed to be a Terminator, I'd be like, bro, I got to talk to your girl because I love you too much to let you fuck up your career like that. I don't allow it. And,
I don't have any time to be on social that much to post any like horrible memes. Thank goodness.
Yeah, well, there's some people who can get away with it. There's some people who can get away with it because their character allows it. If we're making a choice to be a mythic character, that takes an extra level of protection. Yeah. Because you're putting your time, your bumps, your body into it. You're gonna blow all that off for a fucking Stephen Colbert tweet. Like that just lowers your level down when you put so much into it, So I'm not saying anything about you. I love all your social media right now. You get that
if learning for me too, and I'm not on TV every week, so
that's why it's excusable. And I go at it.
Too. But yeah, she's my girl, so I could hit her up too and let the zombie know to stick to zombie shit.
it's just because I want to see her succeed so much, and there's something there. Why damage it?
Yeah.
Would I mean it would be pretty cool to me if next week Hikaru Shida started showing signs that she
absolutely needs to. Oh yeah.
And then eventually she turns into like Abaddon zombie like Michonne has on Walking Dead. She's walking around with her zombies or something like that. I don't know.
That could get a little close to Su Yung and the whatnot. I would almost like to see the fact
bring Su Yung to it. Yeah.
Well, they could, but I think I'd rather see a different type of zombie thing. And this maybe I don't know zombies as much as other people do. And I know there's a whole fucking argument on what they should be, but what if she bites her, but now she can control just like her arm against herself, make her choke herself and shit like that. So it's not, she's still Sheeta, but like when Abaddon wants to have control, she can make her do shit against herself, or like a voodoo doll kind of in a way as well. So just a little different take of how I was trying to think about it, but I know that Walking Dead crowd is pretty passionate about
what AEW is listening.
I've never seen it, so I have no idea.
Jenna's willing to be bit again and be a zombie full time on TV. So fight her, and she'll do that.
I agree with you, Hamin, about the medical attention. I think Sheeta should have gotten stretchered out, and they should have had blood and everything. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do the zombie route just because we already got one. What I would instead do is I would have it discolored next week. Like next time we see Sheeta, maybe it's fucking green and just looks fucking sinister. Like what the hell is up with her?
Sure. I'm with that too, man. Yeah. It means you bit her neck out. It's not going to be we're back next week to wrestle. And if it is, that's a mistake, that was a very cool, like live spot. It worked well, but here's what it didn't work. In the ring, we got to get this shit out of ringside. It should have been Sheeta up, does the pose like I posted last time. She starts going down the ramp and gets attacked in that. Like it needs to be a sneak attack. Get out at ringside right there where it's like an oh my God moment. There's just got to shift a couple places where they do things and they'll mean a little bit more, I think.
I could agree with you in that in most sense. It was fine for me though, because it was Abaddon. Like, and she popped, to me, it felt like she popped up like a monster would in a movie. So I was cool with it. But in most cases, I do agree with you. Fucking,
Then
do it
have her
somewhere
come
else.
Out of the under the ring then. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, definitely.
Crawl your ass out there.
Yeah, right. That should have been out underneath the ring. I've sat under the ring for an hour and 20 until I had to do my sneak attack at indie shows. There's no reason.
Did you take the piss jug with you?
I don't remember. I think
a piss jar.
I smoked a joint under there or something. I don't know.
Nice.
I just had to get out and hit somebody with a flag. It was easy to.
That's a true thing, by the way. I've known several guys who've had to lay under the ring and they carry a piss cup or piss jug.
I've been on road trips with you, and he's asked me, you should have brought your piss jug.
Were you guys headed up to Moncton or no?
Yeah, we went through Moncton. We caught our boy DVD, Detroit Velvet Smooth.
Piss jug alley. You whipped her out there.
Hey,
I don't have a piss jug, nor would I do that. Even look.
Well, now we know what to get you for Christmas next year. Is it a piss jug?
Get her a bedpan. That'd probably be easier and be classy.
Oh, no.
So we're both excited to see the Sheeta Abaddon match. Are you allowed to make the match announcement yet? Because I think Hamin is gonna love a possible match.
You put it in the universe. I have a match with Holodead in February.
Do you? Awesome. Against her or with her?
Against
her.
Okay. Dude, I think she's a phenomenal worker as well and has really been kicking ass. And that's a girl who also protects all the Holodead biz too. You see her on social media, she's licking a knife and she's all painted up in the back woods or whatever. Like, but she's a serious competitor and also, that power lifter, really strong style worker that you are as well. So I think
she likes to compare her legs to mine every time we see her.
I think where's that going down?
Match. I'm excited.
Where's that going down?
That's going down at Mission Pro on February 6th.
Awesome, guys. So you'll be able to get that on pay-per-view again. I'm definitely going to check that one out. And I might be torn on who I got to go for on this one. These girls are going to tear it down. I'm sure I'm going to have to go with Jenna. But if I stay there, I'm going to have to face Holodead too. And I'm not trying to get fucked up either that way. So
I'm excited. I got a lot of time to prep for it. So it'll be a good one. You'll see a lot of training going on.
Absolutely. You're going to need it for sure. And definitely have her check for knives because she's got a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. So guys, follow Genocide's social media so you can see the training going into this match, all the promotion for it. It's going to be sick. I'm excited for it.
Thanks, babe.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for the support, everyone. I hope you guys had a Merry Christmas. And are you guys going to have another podcast before New Year's?
No, I think we'll be back in 2021. So it'll be 2021 Genocide next time we see you.
Well, I will see you guys next year.
All
right. Ultimate Warrior Run Out. Dun, 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 dun.
Warrior Run Out, he said.
So we got our main event now, guys.
Killed it. Run back in.
Oh,
dun, dun, dun.
Well, we got the main event. We got the Acclaimed taking on the Young Bucks for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. And ultimately, the Young Bucks retained their championship. And it was a very Merry Christmas for the Young Bucks. Chris Silvio, would you break it down match-wise? What'd you think?
So I found it very, very interesting that all the segments tonight were double booked. This was the lone one where we had the finish and we go off the air with the Bucks standing tall. Now for the match. The Young Bucks are fucking good. And here's why. Yes, that's an understatement, but here's why they are so good. They had a TV main event, a live TV main event with the green tag team of two guys that are bigger, stronger, and can hurt them. And they went in there and pulled, I think, 15 minutes or something like that on live TV with these guys, which as a wrestler, Maddie, is super risky. Anything can go wrong and it's hard to do. And they put that thing together and there really wasn't many hitches, like a little choppiness here and there, but it flowed. And this was the Acclaim's first marquee match and in a main event. Just the pressure alone to do that is astounding, let alone the logistics of actually making it happen. So I definitely had some respect for the Bucks after seeing that, and they were cool in the pocket, like fucking Peyton Manning, man. They were cool leading the dance, and the young kids followed along. They did some cool shit. We talked about the rap video, and we talked, a lot about the characters of the Acclaimed. I think the only miss, and I'll use one of Hamin's words because I hate saying miss, but what they could have done is they could have put the Acclaim over for 6 weeks. Then when they had this match with the Bucks, the fans would have thought they had a chance of winning. That's the thing we talk about all the time, Maddie, where we need these surprise wins, because we have those matches where people know, okay, there's no way this guy's going to beat this guy or this girl's going to beat that girl. But if we had the Acclaim go over strong for 6 weeks, now they got this match with the Bucks, people are going to say, and those false finishes with the boombox would now mean so much more, because if they beat you with that boombox for 6 weeks, but on week 7, the Young Bucks kick out, everyone's going to go banana.
A couple things I just want to ask you, Silvio. First of all, I believe the show was probably more live to tape. It definitely was live, obviously, in front of that audience, and they probably didn't make any edits. But I don't know if it was necessarily live because that basketball game did go on late. But you're right, it was live, still guiding them and all that. My question to you was, did you think that based on the match, how the match played out, I saw some feedback from some of the people in the Hamin Media discussion group that they felt that the Acclaimed ultimately not got buried, but unfortunately didn't get any heat out of it, is because one of them went through a table and the other one got indie takered. So they built up the Acclaim all night or the last couple of weeks, and at the end of the night, the Bucks just stood tall, babies up, and they're kind of like it was blown off with before the Acclaim got any momentum really going.
I think it'll be all right. I agree with that in a sense, because there was no heat in it, but sometimes it's babies up. I feel like the heels can always get their heat back. So next week they could bash Nick Jackson in the back of the head with the fucking boombox, and now it's a question as to whether or not he's going to be able to be in the next match, or there's a million things they could do. So they could get their heat back. They need wins. The way you get anyone over is give them wins. Feed them wins. I want everybody winning all the time. They got enough people on Dark to where you could have 20 guys that fucking never lose. Just give those guys wins and with heat, and they'll be all right.
Mr. Pierce.
It's Christmas, Matt. Baby's up. That's how you do it, buddy. Start new business in the new year. Heels can get their heat back in 6 days. That's the hard, fast rule. But yeah, this is the Bucks. This is the Bucks of youth, as I used to call them. Bucks of youth, hear me now. You can do whatever you want. You are great. I will not overbook your shit. Just make sure they sell the 2 super kick, for goddamn sake. That's all I'd say to him, because I was thinking in my match, I go, if I was running this whole show, I would have these guys doing this. I like Dustin, what he did. I like a lot of these things. And when it came to the Bucks, how would I agent them? Say, make sure somebody sells a super kick to get it over, and fucking break it up if you want on the pin. Just don't have them selling shit, and do whatever else the fuck you want, because you guys know how to get over. You're made. And that's what this match was for a go home on the main event. And it felt like 2 CW to me of the Bucks I used to watch there. So I like the way they look. They're badass, and I hope they stay healthy.
How about that Doomsday device? That shit was
thanks. I'm good on taking that. I'll be the base on that, though. Set you right up.
Well, there you go, guys. Your Christmas edition, your post edition of AEW Dynamite right here on Light the Fuse. Before we go, I've got one more story here, not AEW related, but it happened today. Former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck is convinced that he will win his wrongful termination suit against the former boss, Vince McMahon. If Luck wins the case, McMahon would have to pay Luck nearly $24.8 million. Documents revealed that has Luck asking Connecticut federal judge to order McMahon to put aside $23 million to pay his likely award for the suit. The report indicates that in the filing earlier this week, the former XFL commissioner said that the evidence is so clear in his favor that McMahon should just go ahead and put the money into escrow while he waits for the court to decide the fate of his case. The legal counsel went on to say that the facts clearly demonstrate that Mr. Luck never performed any act or omission that would qualify for termination for cause under the employment contract. So we'll leave you with that. If you want to comment now, we can, or you can hear it all about it on the Monday Locker Room. Ben, what do you think? Do you want to talk about it now or later?
I mean, they're about to get more money from USA. Their money's going up to $462 million in 2021 for the shit that they're putting out. So when you're talking about billionaires, bro, 23.5 million pisses them off. So does 39 million to some firefighters and 18.5 million to super PACs in Florida. End of the day, cost of doing business. For him, that's him paying for Podbean. That's him paying for Dropbox. He just does it on a much higher level than I do, and they make stupid decisions that seem like they need to be made in the now, in the present time, because 2 years from now, who knows how it's going to shake out when the lawyers get through it all, and they'll settle. That's just the level those guys play at, man. And when they needed to make that call, it's because it was an emergency situation, COVID time. If you think back when the NFL, when the Renegades were goddamn playing, pal, and on that tear to the XFL championship, and then it's all gone. That was a time and they tried to sit in the pocket to see what everybody else was going to do, to see if they could capitalize. And they did for a little while. And then it all came crashing down and hurt inside. So we'll talk more about it on the Monday Locker Room, I'm sure, but pay that man his money at the end of the day is how it's going down.
Well, guys, I'm your host of the Scene Where the Air is Clean. I'm Lighting Up Green, your boy, MSG. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. Check out the brand new episode of Suck My Balls, number 55, technically our 1-year anniversary episode. That was the date that we put out the very first episode on Christmas as well. So go check that out. It is Quintuplets 2000. Or if you're just in the holiday festive season, we've got 4 Christmas reviews up there. So you can go check them all out. Episodes number 1, 10, 39, 30 and 49. Ooh. So go ahead and check those out. Audio, as well as I believe one of them is video. And from all of us here at Hamin Media Group, I see a bunch of you in the chat room today from JC Big Sports Fan, Disco, Swayze, Sonic the Hedge Rat. I saw Armin in there, Ratch Rain 16, and everybody else who stopped in today. Thanks so much for being part of the Hamin Media discussion group and Hamin Media Live watch-alongs. Also, of course, thank you, Mr. Silvio, for, let me hang out with you every week. You're pretty badass. So it's a privilege and honor every week to get to talk to Mr. Chris Silvio. It's a privilege and honor, of course, to sit under the tutelage of our fearless leader, Ben Hamin. So thank you guys as well. And take it away, Silvio.
Maddie, thank you for that. And the privilege is all yours. Merry Christmas to everyone. Cousin Marky, get in contact with the email, and young Maddie will get you and I, Mr. MSG will get us in contact, and we'll catch up, and maybe even you'll get some swag sent your way too. I don't know. We'll see. I got a Christmas hat on. But yeah, thanks everybody for tuning in.
So I don't know.
Yeah, okay, well maybe not the swag, but we'll get in contact, and we'll get your body right and your mind right. Yeah, I'm Chris Silvio, and I am still not on social media, so don't @ me anywhere. You can, however, if you're looking for training and development, you can send me a direct message on Facebook at Chris Silvio, and I will irregularly check those, but I will find you and we will talk. I'm super excited at the school. We're getting a new ring this weekend.
Nice.
And this is the first time I've been able to say this so far. I counted the other day and I got 6 in the camp that can draw money. And as you know, that's a big statement to make.
You're lucky to have one most of the time.
Right. So I got 6 powerhouses in there. We got a lot of students in the dojo, but I've got some right now that I think can make some waves. And then the other ones are working up, hopefully a few weeks, it'll be 7 and we'll keep on building and building. So get your ass to Florida, guys. The wrestling world is closed up. What the fuck are you going to do? You're going to sit at home and sulk? Or are you going to come and get better? Come and get better here with us in Florida. We train the fucking body, mind, spirit, and we teach you what you need to know. Myself and Bill.
I literally had that conversation because I know he's listening. I literally had this conversation with a stranger the other night, and I said, "What are you doing? Go down to Florida and go train with Silvio." He was like, "I got a girlfriend now." I'm like, "Get your ass to Florida."
Dude, you can have a girlfriend in Florida too. You have one over there and one over there as well. But
Trust me, there's a lot of girls here.
it's at the end of the day, it's you want to train with the guys who are in AEW to fucking possibly have that connection, not just the learning, but the opportunity to be 1 degree of separation from the whole squad who could get you at ringside singing Jericho's theme. And from there, do with it what doest thou wilt. I mean, it's about investing in yourself. Same as I said to Matt earlier. That's why he made the sacrifice. What sacrifice are you guys going to make for 2021 to improve your lifestyle, accomplish your goals, not just dreams? Write them down. How we're going to make strategies to get there, because that's what we're doing every single day here at Hamin Media Group. Building an empire, and you can too for yourself, infidels. It's Hacker Hamin. It's MSG. It's Holiday Hamin. Ho, 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 infidels. It's time to light it up. Light the fuse 2020. It's the end of the year, infidels. Let's blow shit up. Yalla.